we all have this experience of like, we sit down to meditate, and from the outside looking in, we might appear as though we're meditating. The body's still, we're sitting up taller, the eyes are closed, but the mind is, somewhere else, right? And the question arises kind of like, well, what does that mean to be not meditating, and what does it mean to be meditating? And I think like one of the most basic ways in which to think about that is, when we sit down to meditate, we establish an intention. And if we are no longer present with our intention, then we're no longer meditating. Because in some sense, we're always meditating, right? We can even think of our rumination as meditation, right? We're focused on a single thing, and we're, repeating or staying with that focus again and again and again, right? So in a way, like ruminating, even repeating bad habits or unwanted behaviors, like these are all forms of meditation. So I think the first thing is to really get clear in our formal practice, because the distraction can be so subtle. Like we might sit down to say, I'm going to focus on mindfulness of the breath. And then something arises, and suddenly we find ourselves doing a body scan, and something arises, and we're doing a compassion meditation. And then maybe we go back to the breath, or we move from that and meditate on sound, right? And these are all different forms of meditation. But if we're, you know, leaving the intention that we set out with at the start of our practice, if we're no longer present with our intended commitments, we might still be doing something positive, say meditating on sound versus the breath, but in a subtle way, we've allowed ourselves to get pulled by that distraction, right? Maybe staying with the breath for whatever reason in that moment was a bit challenging, and so we just went somewhere else. But you know is it helpful to just keep following those distractions, or would it be helpful to practice a return to intention and a return to stability of mind, right? So in talking about formal meditation, like that's one way we can start to work with this idea of like, well, what are the rules here? How do I know when I'm really present with the meditation or not? And I can set that structure and set those parameters down to meditate just by, announcing personally to myself my intention, right? That doesn't mean that you can't have an intention that's just, I'm going to sit here and just simply observe whatever arises. Maybe the intention is to be with open awareness versus a single point of focus. But we want to be aware of, what's the intention with these formal practices.